Hey guys, this is a long overdue comparison of the Bose QC35, 45 and 700, which I was supposed to release shortly after I released my QC45 review, which if you haven't seen, you can watch by clicking over here, about 2 months ago. Unfortunately, I had a few major projects going on which were more time consuming than I thought. So apologies for the delay, but I guess better late than never. So let's jump right in. The QC45, which was only recently released, isn't Bose's flagship ANC headphone. The NC700, which was released back in 2019, actually is. So now if you're in the market for ANC headphones and you are looking at Bose, you have 3 options. The QC35-2, the newly released Bose QC45, and the NC700. And you probably have a few questions, like is the QC35, which was released all the way back in 2017, still worth $300 today, or am I better off paying an extra $30 to get the newly released QC45? But then if I'm getting the QC45 at $329, should I just pay $50 more and get the NC700 at $379? And what sets all 3 apart anyway? Well, if you have any of those questions, then this video is for you. So let's find out. Before we start, this video is going to be a comparison of all 3, but not a review of them. If you are interested in my review of the QC45 or the NC700, I'll put the links to those videos in the description. So let's start off with design. The QC35 and 45 are nearly identical design-wise. There's very subtle differences like the logo, which is embossed on the 35s but laser etched on the 45s. The ear cups are a little bit less angular on the 45s. Very minor stuff. Also some minor changes with the case, where again the logo was sort of stitched on and now is printed. And the 35s also came with an airline adapter and a place to stow it in the case, the 45s don't. So they both are predominantly plastic, though the hinges on the 45s are cast metal for durability. But usually, safe for the cushions that do wear with time, the 35s have been quite durable. The 700s, on the other hand, take a much different approach. It's a much more modern, futuristic kind of design. They have a steel band with silicone-covered foam, the ear cushions are made from protein leather, and you interact with the headphones via a touch surface rather than buttons. It's a whole different experience, both in the way they look and the way you interact with them. One more notable difference is that the 35s and 45s fold, whereas the 700s don't. That might give them a slight edge for portability. So this is a very subjective thing. Some people prefer a classic look, other people prefer a more modern one, some prefer buttons, others prefer touch control. Completely subjective. What I would say though, pure looks wise, I very much like how the 700s look. They are different, they look fresh, it's a very clean design. The materials they used feel really good to the touch, it looks and feels premium. The 35s, on the other hand, as well as the 45s, they're your run-of-the-mill kind of headphone that look just boring. There's just nothing worth writing home about. But again, this is purely subjective. I will also add that I know touch controls are usually finicky, but I've rarely had any issues with the 700s. They seem to respond fairly well, but I'll leave it at that. Comfort. With comfort though, premium futuristic design comes at a price. Not that the 700s aren't comfortable, they are, but then when you wear the 35s or the 45s, they're just more comfortable. They weigh less, about 235, 240 grams for the 35s and 45s to 254 grams for the NC700, which adds to that comfort. But also the material, the foam cushions, the headband, the clamping force, everything is just more comfortable. Again, I'm not saying that the 700s are a pain to wear, but the 35s and 45s are clear winners in comfort. Active noise cancelling. This one is tricky. The ANC on the 45s has been upgraded, so off the bat I will say it is somewhat better ANC than that of the 35s. So I'll place the 35s at number 3. But then between the 45s and the 700s, the 45s still have a slight edge with slightly better ANC. However, the fact that the 700s have variable ANC, in my opinion, put it back in number 1. The 45s only have either full ANC or wear mode. The 700s, on the other hand, have 11 different levels of ANC, ranging from 0, which is a wear mode, all the way up to 10, which is full ANC. But you can also have level 5, or 7, or 3. It gets even more tricky here if you intend on using these in areas of high wind. While the ANC on the 45s is better than that of the 35s, The 35s have an advantage. They have the ability to switch between low ANC or high ANC, or even the ability to turn it off completely. With the 45s, you have neither of those options. You only have aware mode or full ANC. In both of these modes, the microphones around the ear cups are active, either to let in noise or to block it out. What happens in windy situations is that you hear the sound of wind, which could be bearable, but as many have complained, could be completely unbearable. I did make a video demonstrating that noise. You can watch it by clicking over here. Worth mentioning as well that Bose might add this feature later to the 45s with a firmware update, so make sure to check that out before ordering them. Audio quality. You get the signature Bose sound here. Some love it, some don't. I usually don't spend time on sound because I believe it's a very subjective thing, but I will point out that the 45s have triport vents to add more depth and fullness, and volume optimized automatic EQ to boost highs and lows, which the 35s did not have. Again, whether you like the effect of that or not is purely subjective. But I will also point out another major difference with the 700s and the 45s. For some reason on the 45s you cannot customize the EQ like you can on the 700s. But again, Bose might later add this with a firmware update. Battery life. On the QC45 you get 24 hours of battery time, full charge in 2.5 hours, and a 15-minute charge gives you about 3 hours of playtime. On the 35s you get 20 hours and a 15-minute quick charge gives you 2.5 hours of playtime. Similarly, on the NC700 you get another 20 hours with a 15-minute charge giving you 2 hours of listening time. So the QC45 wins over here with enhanced battery life. Price. The Bose QC45 was released at $329 US, lower than the initial release price of $349 for the QC35s, though the QC35s are often heavily discounted, often as low as $299 or even less. The NC700 was released at $399, the most expensive of the bunch, but you can often find deals on those as well. Call quality. This is a very interesting point. The 35s did not have the best call quality experience, most notably in noisy environments. The 700s, on the other hand, Bose says no other headphone on the market can deliver a call quality performance like this. The 45s have an upgraded mic system with a fourth microphone that exceeds the competition, Bose says, isolating and focusing on your voice, while a noise rejecting algorithm filters out environmental sounds. So how do they perform? Let's find out in these tests.
So this is what the Bose QC35 sound like in a quiet environment. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Now let's see what the Bose QC45 sound like in the same quiet environment. And now this is the Bose QC45 in a quiet environment. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Now let's go to the Bose NC700 to see how those perform in the same quiet environment. And this is how the Bose NC700 sound like in a quiet environment. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Now let's see how all three headphones perform with a noisy hairdryer in the background and how well they are able to cancel out the loud sound of that hairdryer. And now we're back to the QC35. Let's turn on a noisy hairdryer to see how much of that noise would be canceled out. So this is the QC35 with a noisy hairdryer turned on. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Now let's go to the QC45. And now this is the Bose QC45 with the same noisy hairdryer turned on. How much wood can a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Now for the final test, let's go to the NC700 to see how those perform with a noisy hairdryer in the background. And now this is the Bose NC700 with the same loud hairdryer in the background. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Now for the final test, let's head outside to a noisy street to see how all three headphones perform in a real-life situation. So let's start off with the Bose QC35. As you can see, there's a highway behind me. Cars are passing by, but there's also cars passing by from all around me over here as well. There's a little bit of wind, and this is what the Bose QC35 sounds like. Now let's go to the Bose QC45.
So now I have the QC45s on. I'm still standing in the same spot. The highway is still below me and cars are still passing by from all around. It is quite noisy with a little bit of wind. The call quality or the microphones of the QC45, according to Bose, are significantly improved to that of the 35s. Do you sense that improvement? Let me know in the comment section below. And for the final test, I will switch to the QC NC700 and let's see how those perform. So now I have the Bose NC700 on, still in the same spot with all the cars flying from all around. According to Bose, no other headphones rival the NC700 at their ability to pick up your voice clearly and cancel out background noises during your calls. Do you guys agree with that? Let me know in the comment section below. Keep in mind, this is somewhat of an extreme test. There's a lot of noise from all the cars around, and there's also some wind. So it is a bit extreme, but a good opportunity to stress test these headphones. Let me know in the comment section what you think about the call quality test of the QC35, the 45, and the NC700. I will head back inside for my final thoughts.
Well, this is going to be a tough one because no matter which one you choose, for the most part, you will not be disappointed. And it boils down to what you will be using them for, mostly. For starters, if you're in an area with high wind and you intend on using these outdoors, unless Bose releases a firmware update allowing you to control ANC levels, I would say stay away from the QC45. If you'll use these predominantly for calls, especially in noisy environments, I would say go for the NC700. Same recommendation if you value variable noise reduction, as the 700 is the only one that offers that. If you already have the 35s, I don't think it's a worthwhile upgrade to the 45s. If you have the 700 and are quite happy with them, then of course, no point in getting the 45s. If you have neither and want the absolute best ANC and don't care about anything else, then I would say go for the 45s as they have the best ANC of the bunch. So it's not straightforward, but I hope in this review I was able to show you how they compare in aspects that might matter to you, in hopes that this would help you make a better purchase decision. If this was of help, as always, please hit the like button and subscribe, as this encourages me to continue producing content like this. Until next time, cheers.